So hey everybody, welcome back. I'm going to try to make this quick because I don't have a whole lot of time. But there's a guy by the name of San Filippo who made a tweet about current day gaming industry and how the gaming industry itself should stop apologizing. And, well, I'm about to explain why I think he's wrong, and even though he's just expressing his opinion is not rooted in any kind of logic. He uses an analogy that is so incredibly bad that I want to rip it apart and throw it back at him in a different way. So I plan on doing that here and now. So let's get right on into it. Let's read the tweet together. It reads, "Perhaps an unpopular opinion, and no shade meant to this team at all, but I really wish as an industry we would stop apologizing profusely for mediocre launches and slipped dates. We need to stop perpetuating this notion that game companies are the servants of gamers." Okay, so there's a lot wrong here. Number one, who's we? Do you belong in the gaming industry, Aaron? Do you work for any studio whatsoever? I bet you don't. So I wouldn't insert yourself as if you're speaking on behalf of the industry that you obviously do not work for. So that's mistake number one. Mistake number two is the highlighted portion that I highlighted here because this is the meat and potatoes of it all. He says, stop apologizing profusely for mediocre launches and slip dates. Wait a minute. You don't want a company to apologize for, he admitted, mediocre launches? And slipped dates? What do you mean by slipped dates? Oh, he means delays. He means when a company says, hey, don't worry, fans, we're going to release this game on this date. Don't worry, it's totally coming, and then they have to delay it. They should stop apologizing for telling the audience, telling the possible customers, paying customers, they should stop apologizing when they screw up. That's what Aaron is saying. Companies need to stop apologizing when they screw up. That's essentially what Aaron is saying. And Aaron, you're wrong. So very wrong. The very least a company could do is apologize when they screw up. That's the very least they can do. After all, they stated something that they said they were going to do, and then they missed the time in which they were going to do what they said they were going to do. That's on them, not on us, Aaron. And if they can't abide by the dates that they announced, I got a great idea for them all, Aaron. How about stop announcing release dates until the game has 100% gone gold? How about that? Delays would be a thing of the past. If companies would just keep their mouths shut, make the game, and then only announce a release date when the game is actually ready to hit store shelves, you wouldn't have slip dates anymore, which means you wouldn't have anything to apologize for. So, put that in your pipe and smoke it, Aaron. The second thing I wanted to mention is, first, let's kind of go backwards. First, obviously, yes, gamers should get an apology. That's the very least gamers should get. Number two is, it's obvious that Aaron here doesn't understand this little thing called expectations. See, in the real world, where we all work, like I work in the medical field, other people may work at Subway, there are contractors, there are barbers, whatever career choice you have considered, or am currently working in, certain things are expected of you. This is no different in the video game industry. We as customers have certain expectations that these industry giants should be adhering to. Say like, adhering to the date that they originally announced. Pretty simple. Or hey, at the very least, could you guys not release a game in a botched delivery? How about the game doesn't have game-breaking bugs where you can't play it because you keep getting booted off the game every time you load in? Or Cyberpunk 2077 is a perfect example. Should CDPR not have apologized for that, Aaron? Should CDPR say, yeah, we released a buggy game, deal with it? Is that what they should have done? That wouldn't... The CDPR wouldn't last very long if they did that, Aaron. And number three, Aaron, you also have to understand is the video game industry, a lot like Hollywood, and actually the medical field also in some ways, is what I would refer to as a high-stakes environment. Do you know what a high-stake environment is, Aaron? It's when there's a lot riding on the company's success based on what you're doing. In the nursing field, either as a CNA or as a nurse, there's a lot riding on those people who are doing their job well. There's an expectation of those CNAs and the nurses that they're going to take care of their patients and do their very best to make sure that that patient is taken care of. And quite well, I might add. See, there's an expectations. Now, let me lean in to expectations a little bit harder by readdressing Aaron's restaurant analogy, which is hilariously bad. Press pause, read this next tweet that Aaron made about his own restaurant analogy, and I will explain to you why it's terrible. Here it goes. The analogy is terrible because what he is saying is that you shouldn't expect your food to be delivered in a timely fashion, or even cooked right. Now, even in Aaron's own words, he says, you may ask for a refund if you think the service isn't what you thought it should be, and that's fine. And I would happen to agree with that. But let me reverse this analogy for you, Aaron. Imagine you were sitting in that same restaurant, right? Whatever the restaurant may be. It can be the Olive Garden for all I care, right? Let's say you ordered your food and it hasn't come in about 30 to 45 minutes. Let's say it's 45 minutes and your food hasn't showed up yet. You raise your hand, bring over the server, either be it waiter or waitress, doesn't matter. So I'm just going to use the word server because there are only two genders. I just wanted to throw that in there. And the server says, "Oh, I'm so sorry, you haven't gotten your food yet. Let me run in the back to the cook and find out what's going on with your order." They run back. They come back. Imagine this, Aaron. Imagine if the server said, "The cook wanted me to relay to you this message, customer. They're going to have to delay your meal. After all, a delayed meal is eventually good. A rushed meal is forever bad." What do you think would happen? Would you say, "Oh, that's sound advice. I'm going to wait a little bit longer"? Let's say you do. Let's go with that scenario. Let's say you're a sucker enough to sit there and wait even longer, and another half an hour passes by. So you've been waiting for a total of an hour and 15 minutes, right? Maybe almost an hour and a half. And you raise your hand again. You say, "Server, I still haven't gotten my food. Where the heck is my food?" The server comes back out again, says, "Sorry, delay. We're going to have to polish your meal." You want to know what's wrong with this analogy of mine that I'm purposely putting forth? Is that there's an expectation that certain things are going to be done in a timely fashion. The gaming industry, oddly, has a pass on this. Have you ever noticed that? The gaming industry, even though we expect games to run properly, it's like the industry doesn't really care about that anymore. Isn't that weird? Where the rest of the working world is bound by the concept of expectations. The video game industry can just release something and say, we'll patch it later. That is unlike any other facet of life that I know of. I would really like to know another analogy, another example of another career choice where that isn't the case. I'd really like to hear a different point of view on that. But that's where I'm coming from. That's about all that I have today. If you like what you heard, please like and subscribe. Do all the social stuff. You can find me on Gab. I'm always willing to chat with you. Even if you disagree with me, I don't care. I will talk to you. So jump on over to Gab and find me. Until next time, have fun.